Kia ora and welcome to week 4 of fiction writing. This week I want to talk briefly about 4 things that we should be going on this week. It's a time of transition into first set of workshops. But first I want to talk about your writing. You should be writing stories. You should have set aside a time to write, a time and space that you're not going to be interrupted, and have some kind of weekly practice. You know, every Tuesday from 10 to 12 and Thursdays from 8 a.m. till 10 a.m., whatever works for you. So right now you should be writing that story that you're going to turn in as story 1, just to be clear on that. Second issue, it's related to writing, is the exercises. There's been some questions, are the writing exercises compulsory? No, they're not. But when they're working the way that they're working this semester so far, they don't need to be. Because what we have right now is students responding to each other in really helpful ways, giving some fantastic feedback. It seems like a really supportive environment. It doesn't always turn out to be exactly that way, but this year I'm really pleased with the way students are interacting in the exercises forum. So go ahead and post those exercises if you feel inclined. As I mentioned in last week's video, this might be a very natural place that your story arises out of. For some students, it might not lead to anything. So in a posting that I made in response to the question about are the exercises compulsory, I mentioned play. I want to talk about that for a moment. And I just want to talk about how important it is to get into the right state of mind when sitting down to write. We talked a little bit about this last video, so I'll just say a sentence or two. But sometimes when we first come into writing, we have this idea that a story has really succeeded when it's done exactly what we've imagined it will do. And I just want to suggest to you that the opposite may be the case. That when the story gets away from us, when we find it mysterious or compelling or nerve-wracking even, maybe we read something that we've written and we think, oh, I can't write about that. That oftentimes means that there's an emotional charge there, and it means sort of, no, that's the way forward, that's the way to go. But when we read something and we think, oh, yep, that's exactly what I meant to write, it suggests that it could be a little bit dead in the water. In other words, it could be a product just of our intellect and not something that engages with our emotions. And if it doesn't engage with our emotions as writers, it's unlikely that it will engage with the emotions of our readers. So that's the first 2 subjects there, is just writing in general and writing in the exercises. Third topic I want to talk to you about is reading. We're only technically on to discussion 2 on voice, although a lot of people have read ahead. If you have read ahead, you can continue to read ahead and read the next one on plot. If you haven't read ahead, that's fine. We should just be on voice, which is the second reading. The first reading was very long, and so I gave 2 weeks for it. Also give people a chance to get settled into the course a little bit. So we'll be reading on voice. Some of you have already posted on that, and thank you for those contributions. Just go ahead and keep doing that. I try to respond. I do read them all, believe it or not. I read every posting for 80 students, and I try to respond where I can. Unfortunately, I usually only end up responding to sort of direct questions and problems with course material and things because I have to prioritize. But I do read them all, and I try to jump in there when I get a moment. So keep posting about the stories. And finally, tutorial groups. So you will have noticed, if you are observant and if you're on a computer, it's a little harder to see on a phone sometimes. You have to search around for it. But you'll have observed that on a computer, there's some, at the top of the screen, at the top of the website, there's a bunch of categories and tabs, and there'll be a new one there for you, and that is that you will have been assigned to a tutorial group. That's fantastic. So only you and the other students in that group can access that tutorial group. That's not a whole class. That's not a whole class feature. So different students will have different groups at the top of their websites. What should you do about that? Well, you should go in there. There'll be a poll set up, and the poll gives you an opportunity to select times and days for your workshop meetings coming up in weeks 6 and 7. These times and days have been chosen by your tutors. It's when they're available. Unfortunately, these are the only times that they're available. If you can sort of kind of make one of these meetings, you might just want to send your tutor an email and just say, hey, look, I can sort of kind of make this, but you don't have to send them an email even. You could just post right in that forum there. And just let them know. But the emails are available on the stream site. there's a place for staff contacts, and you can find the tutor emails there. You can say, I can't come at 1:30, but I can come at 1. Could we tweak that time a little bit? So there'll be some adjustment that goes on. Not all the times, will be exactly right, but maybe they'll be close enough. Unfortunately, as much as we try to accommodate students and have different times of day, we can't ever accommodate everyone. Sometimes you might find yourself in the position where you really want to attend the online workshop and you just can't make any of the times, and you just can't find a compromise. That's okay. All that happens is that you go to what the course used to be like, which is moderated peer review. And moderated peer review is you get paired with somebody, or sometimes groups of 3, depending on how many people want to do moderated peer review, and you read each other's work and post some feedback on the forums, and then your tutor reads all that feedback and posts a summary post about all the feedback, helping people to learn from it a little bit. And so that is the choice for you. You also may find yourself in the position that you're just not interested in online workshops, and that's fine too. And again, moderated peer review is your choice. So keep reading, keep writing, choose a poll time in there, and if you haven't set aside a dedicated time to write each week, please do that. It's not too late to start now, but please hop in there and do that immediately. And if you have any questions, as always, post them on the forum, and I look forward to seeing you next week.